Hi guys, and welcome to watch my first vlog video. This is fantastic. I've always been thinking about like what kind of a vlog would I do, and now since I have this task that I need to do for my master's degree, I get to do it. It's fantastic. The task that I was given was to think about how to think about in social media in general, like what kind of social media channels and tools that I have used, and what kind of examples that I have found from organizations around the world and how they use social media. So I got two easy examples for you that I will try to follow and catch up you on and in the end I will discuss a little about how do I see in my working area, in my working field, how do I see that people use social media? What are the good positive things and negative things of using social media? So let's try. I will open up first the LinkedIn site. When I started working after graduating with my bachelor's degree, I joined a company which insisted that I needed to get customers all the time for our company. And we discussed together with my friend in the company that LinkedIn is quite a good social media tool to widen your network, find mind-like people, and of course, find customers. So at first, I uploaded my profile in here. At the moment, it's, as you can see, it looks like this. I put on there my favorite quote from Winston Churchill, that the pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity, the optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. So I built this profile as many millions others around the world, the LinkedIn, and I found the whole tool, the whole channel as a very beneficial tool for me, since it's so easy to find people in here and you just need to be brave. And for example, if you write down some name in here and just contact him or her, write down something and for example say, hi, would you be interested in a cooperation? And many weren't, but many were, because the other side was that you could just call someone or you could contact people online. And I think that when there's already the social media community built inside LinkedIn, and when a person logs into LinkedIn and he or she, for example, finds that she got a message from me, it's much more easier for him or her to answer to me also, and what does he think about me, and does he want to do cooperation with me? So this was a very good example of a social media tool that I've used for a long time already. The other social media tool that I chose was YouTube. It's been a very, very beneficial tool also for me for a long time already. I've added some videos already for my own channel and also for the companies where I've worked in. Currently, I'm working in Xamk University, and I have sent a couple of interesting videos in here. I think YouTube is a good knowledge sharing platform, because nowadays, since the internet is filled with lots and lots and lots of information, and when thinking about, for example, in my work, how my work is mostly or very lot based on how to teach, how to share information between each other, me and our customers, whoever they are, videos are so much easier in that. For example, as you can see in here, if you watch a 2-minute video or even a 1-minute video, it's so much easier. It doesn't take your time that much. It's more relaxing to watch a video instead of following a text, because I think most of the people in the world, they have so much text to read in their working time or in their spare time. So, and of course, everyone in the world understands that videos are so important nowadays. But I think YouTube has been a very beneficial site for me to learn. And even this whole experience is doing this course and these tasks by answering and speaking at the same time is very beneficial for me, because I think that I learn when I speak more. But yeah, in the tasks given, the next task was about when I chose LinkedIn and YouTube. The next task was to think about what kind of organizations in the world use similar channels or similar social media tools. So I again chose to use Xamk with the LinkedIn side. And as we can see from here, how Xamk has their own LinkedIn page in here. So people can watch and see what is the Southeastern Finland University of Applied Sciences Xamk. They go to the website and how Xamk shares info about what is going on in the organization, in the school. They send posts like these. And I think this is a good example in the beginning here. It starts with a question. Do you know what is a difference between this and this? This is a good example because I think that social media really should be social between one or two persons, or two persons or more. I think that when the popularity of Facebook started to grow up in 2007 and social media rocketed the world, I think since at the beginning in Finland, for example, and even still, many individuals and many companies who use social media only add posts that like shout something. They shout on something like there's an event coming up, or there's an something like this coming up, but the social aspect is forgotten for some reason. So I think this is a good step forward with a post like this that asks and tries to participate the social media user to discuss with the person or the organization who put on the post. And of course, since the competition is so high and there's, as I said, the information flow is huge, it requires something very interesting for the user to actually reply for the post. So that requires that each person who finds a new social media tool to use, they need to do an individual strategy for all of the tools that they have. If your company, if the individual starts using LinkedIn, I think they should have a strategy for the tool. And the same goes with YouTube. If you're choosing to have a YouTube tool or channel, do a strategy, so then you can understand more on what to do in there and how to reach the possible customers. And the other example of an organization that uses the channels that I like was the TED organization. TED organization is known of that it's a conference festival that is held around the world, but mostly in USA and in Canada. And they invite the best thinkers and best speakers around the world to discuss and share small lectures based on what they have, what kind of research they've had, or like any kind of knowledge that they want to share together. And it's a very good example on how they have their own website, www.ted.com, which is probably even easier, but I like to use the YouTube version more because I use YouTube so much. They have subtitles for almost each of the talks that they're sharing there, but still they're so easy to use, and I think since they must have very good trainees for all the speakers, so that I think if I choose any of these lectures in here, they're very easy to watch, and of course they're very good for teaching, because once you see or hear something interesting, you just can press pause and then think about the topic that's speaking in there. The last task that was given was about like how do I see social media use in general in my field at the moment, and I want to give an example of since I'm working in a project now where we are trying to gather esports players in or esports fanatics, any gamers inside Kymenlaakso region to our project network. And we're trying to build an esports network in Kymenlaakso region. And I've noticed that many young adults or teenagers, how to use YouTube, for example, it's a very interesting learning platform for them. And when we think about games like Counter-Strike, for example, or any like streamers who use channels like Twitch, for example, or just people who are doing their vlogs, like let's put on here this guy called Ronnie Back. This is I had a talk with my godson who is 11 years old, and he said that he especially likes this guy because he's like such a good speaker and such an intelligent guy, and my godson said something like he wants to be like he is. And we watched a couple of his clips together, and I also recognized that they're very like you can actually learn something from the topics that he has in his videos that we can see in here. Most of them are like he's a very funny guy, and that's one thing that how he gets attention from people. But he teaches a lot for youngsters, so I think it's very interesting to follow how teenagers or younger people how they use YouTube and follow streamers. It's going to be very interesting to see after 5 or 10 years and how the world looks like in then, and how people like this have affected the way how teenagers learn. But of course, there's bad sides in this, and I think one bad side is that when talking about the work that I've been doing with gamers, I've participated in some gaming tournaments, and I've seen how the streaming goes. For example, if there's a gaming match that is played, there are people who are watching that, and they're chatting at the same time as the game is going. And I've noticed a couple of times that when girls are starting to speak, that gets some of the boys to act a little naughty, or a little like their behavior goes nuts in some cases. And I think that's something that we need to carefully discuss with teenagers and youngsters and anyone, because even though you do not see each other online, there's still a person who is behind the computer. And I think there should be, as in the real life, the same should be in the gaming world, that if it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, you should be treated equally. Because I've seen lots of teasing and lots of bad behavior online. So that's one thing that's a bad thing from my experience in social media. But overall, in general, I think social media has brought, well, I'm a very optimistic guy. I think that social media has brought lots of good things. I asked from Esko Valtaoja, who was doing a conference talk a couple of years ago in Lahti. I asked him, what has social media brought to the world? And he said something like this, that it has brought all the countries closer to each other. And I totally agree on that. I think that even though we're living in such a big world and filled with different kinds of cultures, I think social media is a perfect way to see how, even though we have different kinds of culture, we are still all human beings, and we're surprisingly close to each other on how we behave. And social media has shown that how creative people can be. like all the videos that can be seen through social media and all the ways how they can teach each other, how we can teach each other, how we can support each other, and all the movements that have begun with the social media behaving. I think Black Lives Matter, for example, is the biggest movement recently that where social media has had a huge effect. So there's many interesting things in how social media has changed the world already and will continue to change. But yeah, I'm very excited about this course and very excited to see how much more will I learn about social media, and possibly if I can also teach you if you're watching these videos. I think that I'm going to get some feedback based on these talks, and I hope that I will get these videos better and better all the time. But if you're not a person who's in the course where I'm in, still feel free. If you want to give me some feedback, go ahead. I don't mind. I think if you want to grow, you need to have feedback, even if it's positive or negative. But yeah, thank you so much for following and seeing this video. Have a great time. See you again. Bye.